All right, this is Ask Me Anything Live. Today's 30-day live video challenge. What we've agreed to do is get on here and open up the floor so that you guys can ask me anything you want to ask me. All right, so first time I'm doing this, hopefully it'll work well. Elena, Nathan, welcome. Thanks for being here. If you guys have any questions, just type it up in the comments, and I will I'll address. Melody, good to see you. We've been back to back. Monday mornings is a tough day to do this, but we've agreed to do it, so we're gonna follow through with it. We just had like a few meetings, and most recently I had, let's see, like 6, 7 agents in this room, and we were going through comps to review a pricing strategy for a potential listing that's coming up. So that was a really good exercise. We probably had close to 50 some odd years of real estate experience in the room. So hopefully we came up with a good plan. How do you block your time? Elena is asking me how I block my time. Okay. I try to live by my calendar, and I use Google Calendar for everything right now. And I try to block everything out. So if I showed you my calendar, it'd be multiple colors, and there's certain things that are just blocked out the same time every day of the week. All right, so that's the time that I get up, and the time that I work out, the time that I have my meeting responsibilities. So I jump into my workout. My workout is super awesome. It's like 10 minutes, and I do it like multiple times a week. But I try to do it at 6 o'clock every morning. Okay, and I block off half an hour, but it really only takes me 10 minutes. All right, so 6 to 6:30. That's when I work out. From 6:30 to almost 7:30. I'm prepping the kids. I'm trying to get them out the door, and lunch made for them and all that. I'm part of a 90-day challenge, so I have to be on call at 11:30 every morning. So at 11:30, I'm usually, in front of a computer on a call, and it's great. I try to set up my mornings as best as possible, and then I have a little bit more flexibility in the afternoon. So if you control your mornings, your afternoon generally is productive. Again, I try to live by Google Calendar, so all of my appointments I put into the calendar, Zoom links, reminders get sent out, all of that stuff, right? Yvonne, good to see you. Pete, long time. Pete has 2 questions. How are you so sexy after all these years? Pete and I went to high school together, and yeah, thanks, man. I don't know how to answer that. I'm gonna stay with Pete though. Do you see softness in the housing market in the next 2 years? Depends on what softness means, right? I think that we're getting back to a more balanced market, right? Properties that stay on the market for 6 months is the determining factor of whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market, right? So seller's market usually is less than 6 months, buyer's market's more than 6 months. And in 2021, things were flying off the shelves. People were dropping their contingencies, and everything was over ask. And that was a little bit of a hyperactive market. So I'm just glad things are coming back, and it's kind of more back to normal. Means that we as agents have to do a little bit more work, but I'm up for it. And it's nice because not everybody is going to be staying in the business of real estate, because it's going to be a little bit more work, and a lot of people are not interested in doing work. I've been at this for 22 years. I've seen good markets, I've seen bad markets, I've seen transitional markets, and we have to continue to capture market share through all this stuff. All right. Let's see. I don't want to miss anything. Melody's asking, do you advise to price just a bit higher in today's market? I find a lot of buyers offering way below market. Okay. I like to go the other direction. I always like to price it at or below market. And I feel like you price it at or below market, you're going to get the attention that you need to get the offers that you want. Okay. And it takes a little bit of more work to convince your sellers to do that, but it'll be absolutely worth it, right? So the time that you spend, like I mentioned before, I had 6 or 7 of my team members here in this tiny little office, everybody with their laptops, everybody looking at the big screen, trying to figure out the pricing strategy for one of our potential listings, right? We want to bring the right information so that the sellers price the property correctly from the get-go, so that we don't see it staying on the market, so that we see a little bit of competition, and so that we get a lot of attention. Okay, so I probably wouldn't price it a little bit high. That's generally not my strategy. The only times I would do that is if the seller's hard set on pricing it a little bit high within reason. Sometimes I would let them do that. All right. Jixon's asking how many kids I have. I have 3 awesome boys. I have 3 boys aged 12, 10, and 7. And they are a handful. They've got crazy energy. They bounce off the walls. And part of the reason why I stay or try to stay as healthy as I'm trying right now is because of those guys, because I need to keep up with them. Chasing the market down. That's right, Jackson. Right. So, yeah. Any other questions for me? What do we have? Have I always done real estate in New York, Christina? So, coming out of college, my parents never pushed me into this business, even though they were second generation. Even though I'm second generation, so I'm born into the business, but they never said, "Hey, Vincent, your job is to take over the company, to take over the office, or jump into real estate." Any of that stuff. So straight out of college, I went into wealth management and insurance sales, and got my Series 63 and 6 and insurance licenses, and went out there, and I was doing great. It really taught me sales. In fact, I was talking to a couple of the agents about this last week. That training right out of college was incredible. Like, I'm coming out of college, I'm shy. I look like I'm 18 years old. I was 21 at the time, 20 at the time, and they didn't let me leave the office until I had my presentation tight, right? And a big part of the training was, just role play every single day, writing the presentation out, role playing until we were, confident enough, until they felt that we were confident enough to do it in front of people. And when we finally went out there, it was good because we practiced so much. So we didn't practice, with our money. The other thing that they taught me how to do is schedule appointments. All they cared about was how many appointments we scheduled, how many appointments we went on every single week, right? So you go out there and you say your goal. I think my goal was like 10 or 12 appointments. And we would go into the office on Mondays and just make calls until we hit our appointments. We don't leave until we finish our appointments. And sometimes that would be like 9:30 at night or something like that. Okay, so we just stayed around and we hit it. So that taught me a ton. And I brought that over into my real estate business right away. So I only stayed into that business for like a year and a half, 2 years. There was some overlap. And what brought me into the real estate business was, unfortunately, my dad fell ill and he passed away. He had brain cancer. And we kind of went through that illness with him for a little over a year, with the diagnosis and the brain surgery. He had 2 brain surgeries, chemo, and all that stuff. It was rough. Pete, that was a while ago. That was pretty much 22 years ago. What brought me into this business. So I obviously wish he was around so he could teach me some of these things, so I didn't have to figure it all out myself. But we're here, right? Yeah. So good questions. What else? Anybody else have anything out there they want me to talk on? You want to ask about? So I don't know if you guys saw my videos, but over the weekend, we had the Pinewood Derby races. Okay, so that's when you have these little blocks of wood, and my kids are in Cub Scouts, so I was never a Cub Scout or a Boy Scout or anything like that. All of this stuff is new to me, but I want them to have these experiences. So we put them into Cub Scouts. They come home with a block of wood, and they're like, we have to make a car out of this block of wood. Okay, so we whittle it down into a car, throw some wheels on it, and it's like maybe my 4th year doing this with the Cub Scouts. And I'm progressively getting better and better and better at building these cars. Not only are they looking nicer, they're getting painted better and all that stuff. And I want to say that both of my kids, right, my middle one and my younger one, who were doing the races this weekend, both of them came in first place in their heats. So I'm doing something right. All right, finally. Who do you prospect mostly? FSBOs, expireds. So I prospect a past pool of people that have contacted us one way or another. Okay, so I find that I'm better at follow-up than I thought I was. Okay, I'm better at just touching base and and being there when they're ready than than I seem to have thought I was myself. So basically, if I find somebody that's looking to sell now or in the near future, I'm going to put them on my radar, and I'm going to make sure that when they're ready, that they reach out to me. Okay, and I just had somebody reach out to me today from back in November. Okay, so back in November we connected, and we've been sending information to each other. More like I'm sending information to him, and he's not really responding. And today I got a phone call earlier this morning saying, "Hey, I think I'm ready, and I want you to come by." So that happened. That happened today. So right now in New York, we're not supposed to be calling, because of the moratorium on cold calls. Okay, so I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's the case. That's what we have to deal with. So we have to find other ways. So people that have been in our database before, what we're trying to do is kind of follow up with them until they're ready to make that move. Right? Door knocking, we're allowed to do. So those of you with doors, keep an eye out because we might be knocking on it now or in the near future. All right? Some engineer behind the seller. Okay. Let me see if I missed any other questions. Yeah, guys, ask me anything. I'm here. I want to add value. I want to, I'll give you some insight if you want some insight. Last week, my wife and I were on the cover of a magazine in New York, New York Lifestyles magazine. If you Google New York Lifestyles magazine, you'll find it. And this was for our other business called OsteoStrong, which we're very, very, very proud of. So OsteoStrong is a franchise in partnership with Tony Robbins, and it focuses on skeletal strengthening. Okay, and my friend Yvonne, who was on before, is one of the regional owners in California, and we work very closely together. And I love the business. I love what it does for people. I love, making them stronger, increasing their bone density, and I love my family using it as well. So if anybody wants to check that out, that's osteostrong.nyc.com. Okay, that's the website. We're going to be changing the website soon, but that's the one that we have now. And it's an incredible company. It's very interesting what it does for people, and I'd love for you guys to check it out. And if you can look at if you could find the article, New York Lifestyles magazine, check it out. All right. Any other questions from anyone? Let's see. I'm checking all of the comments here. I appreciate you guys being on. I appreciate you looking. I had a question that somebody asked me the other day. It's like, what conferences do you plan on going to this year? I do have something in March that I'm going to. I'm excited about. That's a 7 Level Up conference in Florida with some of my partners interested in learning some NLP over there, and some, sharing best practices and business ideas every time we get together. So that's going to be in Florida in March, and then I'm going to Florida again in May for Shareholder Summit with EXP, which is always a great time, and then in Vegas again in November. So I believe those are the 3 that I have scheduled so far, but I've always got room. In your opinion, what traits or factors are going to separate the successful and unsuccessful agents during this market? That's from Alicio. That's a good question, Alicio. What are some traits that separate successful and unsuccessful agents? I think it's just determination, right? If there's a way to figure something out, and you're that type of agent that figures it out no matter what, then you're going to be one of the survivors. In fact, you'll thrive in the market, right? But if you're like, oh, I can't do that, I'm done, then you might as well just quit, right? So you need a little bit of grit, you need a little determination, you need to find different ways to get what you need done, and that determination will push you through. Okay, and you just can't quit when you run into a little issue. Grit, that's it, right? We all have stuff that happens in our lives. Like everybody's got like personal things that they go through and challenges that they have. But it's either we could stop everything every time something comes up, or we just continue to work through it, work despite it, and get things done. Right? Somebody once told me, it's not about fitting more on your plate. It's about having a bigger plate, right? Being able to handle more. Good question, Alicio. Anything else, guys? Nobody wants to know about meat, my favorite topic? I was counting how many steaks I eat in a week, and it is in the double digits. So I eat more than 10 ribeyes a week, and I love it. I love it. It's usually 2 a day when I'm eating at home. If I'm eating out in a restaurant, I usually only go for 1. But my thoughts on people that choose well done. It's tough. It's tough to watch. It's tough to watch them cut through that leather. But yeah, I don't know. I've been going the exact opposite way. Ribeyes are absolutely my favorite. I still order from Butcher Box. So I get my meat sent to me every month. They send me a nice box of frozen meat. And it used to be a variety pack, and I used to get stuff like tri-tips and roast and all that stuff. And I realized I don't know how to cook a lot of those things. And I don't want to know how to cook a lot of those things. And all I want to do is go home and make sure my steak is defrosted, cook it on one side, cook it on the other side, cut it up and eat it. Okay. Ribeyes are my absolute favorite. So I eat those virtually every day. So I have a box that comes in that has 3 things in it. It's got 2 packs. It's either 2 or 4 packs of ground meat, 1 pound each. And then I've got we got 2 to 4 packs of ground meat. I've got 2 strip steaks, and then the rest are ribeyes. That's what I want. Somebody wants to know, how awesome is my wife? Elaine, my wife asking how awesome she is. You are absolutely amazing, Elaine. I've been with my wife a long time. Met her at high school, and yeah, she proposed when I was about 15, 16 years old, and you heard it right. She proposed when I was 15 or 16 years old. Like, we were 16 at the time, Elaine, and yeah, we married later on, but that's together, 3 kids and some properties and some businesses together, and a lot of fun, right? So, and she deals with all the stuff that I have to do as a businessman, a real estate agent, a dad, and all that stuff. So appreciate you. Yep, Pete, Bronx Science, that's where we met. Head of the class. She was a model student, and I just kind of tagged along. All right. How were you proposed to? I was in high school at the time. I didn't really have dreams of marriage. I don't know. I guess I decided very quickly that she was the one, and yeah, we landed with each other at the end of the day, which is really nice, right? But I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to tell you how I was proposed to. I barely remember it myself. I might have been in writing, in a letter or something like that. When we used to pass notes in between classes. Yeah, that's what we did, right? We didn't have text at the time. We were in that transition age. We were there when beepers came out, and then, flip phones, and then smartphones. So we saw all of that change. We're the generation that knows what a dial tone is, because my kids do not know what a dial tone is. All right? We went to an escape room, and the person that was managing the escape room had to explain to them, when you pick up the phone and you hear a sound, that is called a dial tone. They had no idea. All right, so I like our generation. Our generation got to see it, see a lot of it, see a lot of the change, and I'm sure every generation's like that, right? All right, guys. Any other questions? Are we good? Because it's Monday and I've got a ton of work to do. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me and helping me get past this task for my 30-day live video challenge. Pete, I appreciate you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Come see us anytime. We'd love to connect with you again. And everybody else, thank you so much for being here. Melody, Elaine, Elena, Alicio, Christina, all of you guys. Appreciate you all. Thanks for watching, and I'm out.